Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Latrice and I am on a journey to leave my job or as I was saying, retire, in the sense that I no longer wish to work a job or management job. It has just become too, I don't know what the word is, but it has really nothing to do with humans and the human connection. It's about how much we can drive people, and I wish to no longer be a part of that. I do see or feel that I will need to work a job, and I am okay with that. I don't have a huge 401, but I feel it's enough to do some of the things that I want to do and continue to add to that. So one of the things that I did start, one of the businesses that I started to help myself prepare to leave my job and have some type of income or stream of revenue, was the vending machine business. And so I currently have 5, and as I am looking to transition away from my traditional 9 to 5, I am looking to add more to that. And so as I am going back through the process I followed when I initially got the 5, I was thinking maybe some of this information could be helpful to someone out there. And so I put together a few questions. Actually, I asked my AI friend here, I asked if you were interested in the vending machine business, what are some of the questions you would ask someone who is already in the business? And so it gave me quite a lot of questions. And so I'm going to go ahead and go through some of those questions and answer. And once again, hopefully the information is of value to some of you out there. So let's get started. And it's actually put everything into like categories. So our first category is starting out. And it says, what motivated you to get into the vending machine business? Well, as I was looking for a business to get into, I was looking for something that didn't, excuse me, that didn't need a lot of capital to get started. And that, with that small amount of capital would still be enough to get me into something that I could make some money from. And so vending machines seemed to be a good avenue for that. I did a lot of researching on YouTube and just various websites to try to get a good idea of how much it would cost. And I found a company that I felt was within my price range, and I just researched them, reached out, had great conversations, and decided to go with them. And also I thought that the vending machine was something that my son or sons would be interested in. It seemed to be a business that is very scalable. You can continue to add. It's a growing business in the avenue that niche that I'm trying to get into, which is healthy vending. What was the initial investment like, and were there any unexpected costs? So for me, the company I went with was called Healthier For You, and they did package deals, which most of them do. And their package was 5 machines for 50 grand. And so I went that route. Once again, I was kind of skeptical. I wanted to maybe do like 1 or 2. And like I said, through various conversations, it made sense that you really are not going to really make, any money with 1 or 2 machines because, of the expenses that you will incur. And it's just not, it's best to get a few more in there, and 5 seemed like a good number to be able to still break even on cost and have a profit coming in. And were there any unexpected costs? Fortunately for me, no, there was not. The 50 grand that I paid included the shipping. So the machines shipped out, they came from Vegas. The company is out of Vegas. The machines, I'm not sure if they came from Vegas, but wherever they came from, the shipping was included in that. And if I was on site for the machines and if there was anything wrong, I just refused the delivery, which I was fortunate that they all shipped in good, condition. And so, yeah, I didn't have any unexpected costs. And then it said, how did you go about finding and securing your first locations? Well, for me, that was also the good thing, or an attractive feature or benefit to going with the company that I went with, was because within that amount that I paid for the machines, I also paid for them to do the locating for me. So they were actually able to get all 5 of my machines in LA Fitness locations. And so that was very, that was great, because like, how would little old me negotiate, a contract with someone like that to have my machines in their facilities. And so for me, once again, that was a good investment, because it did everything. They did everything from having me go down to their headquarters, once again, which was in Vegas. Like, hey, how cool is that? I got to go to Vegas to do that, as well as hang out and go to the casinos and, have some great dinners and things like that. But they did have us for like a 2-day training. So I got all the ins and outs of the business. If you needed help setting up your LLC, but information in regards to which business structure was good for you, which I do have a video on my channel where I kind of go through all of the different business structure, and for me, LLC seemed the right one. It may not be for someone else, but for me, that was the right choice. They showed us how to load up the machines. They gave us good planograms, to start out, to see what would work best in your machines. The software was already on the machines, so credit cards and all that, we didn't have to go through the hassle trying to figure that out, the setup with the software. So it was a very inclusive package. Like, everything that you needed to get started, they provided for you. And it says, what types of machine and products have you found to be the most profitable? So my machines are combo machines, which means they have snacks and drinks. And for me, the products that I've found to really, I have healthier. So it's more like energy drinks, protein shakes are very popular. Protein shakes are very popular. The snacks, I do like Sun Chips. I do like the Lay's baked chips, the veggie sticks. I do Quest chips, which do very well and are high profit. So yeah, those are most of the things that I found to be very profitable. And actually, the Legendary brand is very popular. The Pop-Tarts, as well as the little buns, honey buns that they have. So, I think it's the more variety, the better. Like I said, I do have a couple, I guess you would call staple items that I like to keep in my machine. The Monster energy drinks, the Fairlife protein shakes, and the Quest chips. Like, my chip assortment is pretty much staple. I always have those. And I tend to kind of go with some of the bars that are, popular with people. I kind of switch it up a lot to keep different flavors and stuff in there, but I would say the Cliff bars do fairly well. Gatorade bars, Quest bars. So pretty much a lot of there's a lot of assortment of protein bars out there. So as long as I keep a good variety in it, they usually do well. And then it says, how do you manage the logistics of stocking and maintaining the machines? And so for me, I have, like I said, 5 machines. I have 2 on one side of town and I have 3 on another side. So in distance from my home for both sides of town, it's like 40, well, the one that has 2 is like 30, 40 minutes, and the one that has the 3 is more like an hour with traffic. And so I usually do each side on its own day. So let's just say Monday, I may go to the side of town that has 2. It'll take me 30 to 40 minutes to get to the machine. And then the machines are only like 15, 20 minutes apart. And I usually spend like an hour on each machine. And when I go, I, stock the machines. I clean them, wipe them down. And I take inventory. And I take inventory in regards to keeping my software reports, accurate, and they let me know, what I'm low on, when I'm out, just how often I need to go. So I usually try to go to each side of town once a week. So that was the first location. Then the other side of town, once again, let's say Tuesday, I'll go. It takes me like an hour to get there. Each machine is like, once again, 15, 20 minutes apart. And so I usually spend an hour on each machine. So, I usually spend, the bulk of my day on the third one doing machines. The first day I usually can get in and out and have time to do other things. And so once again, I try to go 2 times a week. When I do have 2 machines, one on each side of town, that sometimes need to be attended to maybe twice a week. And I usually, once again, like Monday, Tuesday, then I take Wednesday, Thursday off. Friday, if I'm not really planning to do anything, I may, swing through and try to get the one that empties the most on the other side of town where there's 3. And then Saturday, the ones that are closer to me, I may swing by if that one is really low. If not, I usually let it go till Monday. So yeah, yeah. And that was my schedule actually when I was working, or while I'm working. As I get out of that, I will, look and see what it looks like to go 3 times a week. So yeah, that was the logistics and the stocking on the machines. And do you handle everything yourself, or do you have a team to help with operations? I wish I had a team. That is the goal though. Like I said, as I am figuring out the financing to go ahead and proceed with more machines, I do feel that 10, depending on the locations, if I can get it split out again on the 2 sides of towns that I currently go to, I don't see it being an issue to do them on the same days. It may be a longer day, and that's fine. But my son, I usually have him help me like through the summers, on breaks. And once again, it's something that I'm hoping I can continue to scale up and let him have, or even my older son, because he's working a 9 to 5, and I'm always telling him, you're gonna do what you want to do, but my hope is that you would want to, move towards something where you're working for yourself. So I feel like that this is a good business that he could actually really scale up. And an interesting conversation in my gyms, I have another vendor right next to me. And from time to time, I bump into not him, but one of the guys that drives that route. And I was recently just talking to him. I bumped into him, and he was telling me that his route is 15 machines, and that the company that he works for has as many as a few hundred machines. They're like, you know, that's kind of like my ultimate goal, to get to like 50 or 100 machines where I do have people that are running routes for me, and, you know, software, they're updating that, a warehouse where I keep my supplies, but I'm not quite there. So I do everything myself. I visit my machines, I stock my machines, I do all the inventory, I do all the input of the software, and I do the bookkeeping, which at the moment I am looking to get a bookkeeper, because as tax season is approaching, I want to make sure that everything is all, you know, tidied up. I don't want any issues with that. So I do feel, regardless of what size you are of your business, unless you're skilled in bookkeeping, you probably want to make sure that you have someone doing that for you. Let's see. And one thing about the machines, that there is software, so there's always some glitches. There's times when the buildings that they're in, the internet goes offline or something, and the machines go offline, and then sometimes they don't come back up until I'm able to go and reset them. And the software is good for that, because I try to look at it on a daily basis, just to make sure that the machines are not offline and not, you know, in service. As far as repairs, the actual software company, they do have a site where they have licensed repair guys. So that is something that I do need to go ahead and have on standby, because as my machines are starting to get, not older, they're like a year old now. I'm just approaching a year of having all 5 of them. I do see the need to have someone. And also they do have a course where I can take, where I can get versed on, you know, the maintenance and so forth. But I do try to just make sure at this point that I keep any, you know, water or from humidity and so forth wiped out of the machines every time I go. I try to make sure that the vents are clear so that they're getting the right circulation. But I do see myself needing to possibly make sure that I have a good repair person on hand for any major things that may start to come up. And what are some challenges you faced in this business, and how did you overcome them? And like I said, I think in the very beginning, it was just the problem as regards to like the internet. When setting up the machine, you know, I had one machine that didn't get programmed before it left the warehouse, and so it was not functioning off of the internet. As far as taking credit cards, it would only take cash and credit, so it took a while to figure that out, and then to get it to where everything was good so that it could start taking credit cards. I had a machine that I was programming, and I was hitting something wrong, and so it was putting itself out of service like every other day. So that was something that I researched on the website that does the, you know, software, and found ways to troubleshoot. So I figured that out. And let's see, have you had any issues with vandalism or theft? And no, all of my machines are insured. So most definitely you want to make sure that you protect your property. But because they are in the facilities that they're in, I don't have any problems with vandalism or theft. I've had a call or two from the facility saying, hey, your machine took, you know, someone's money and they were banging on it. But, you know, we let them know to call you. I have my information in the inside of my machine. And so they can text me and let me know, hey, this machine gave me a problem. I lost this amount. I have it set up on a Cash App where I usually just refund them. It's not very often that I get them. So when I do, I just make sure I just go ahead and refund it. Even if I know that it's probably because the machine is out and they may have kept hitting the button and the machine or the credit card didn't catch up to the fact that it didn't vend anything. So there was a hold on the credit card. So I just go ahead and refund them, even though I know that hold is probably going to be released and it's going to credit them back. I'd rather take care of them than not. And what strategies have you found effective for increasing sales and customer satisfaction? Well, from time to time, when I have things that are selling but not selling as well, and something that I did have to learn as a new vendor is to keep your eye on the expiration date of things, because I made a mistake and I bought a bunch of chips that were pretty close to expiring, and so I went ahead and made those like $1.75, something, you know, really inexpensive as comparison to what they normally would be, just to get them out. I also had a time where I just bought a lot of things, once again learning curves, the sizes, you know, they were very small little cookies. I was intending, or I was thinking they were like a duo pack and they were only like singles, and so I put those in there for like 50 cents, like something to just, you know, go ahead and get out of. And usually when I'm there, I would give the guys that work there like little things like chips, you know, energy drink, because they're very informative. And once again, they will let you know if somebody's messing with your machine or if something's going on. They tell you what's selling, if not for customers, but for them. And they're there all the time, so they usually buy it all. So I think it's just good to have a good rapport with the people that are there in the building with your machine. Once again, it's just an extra pair of eyes to make sure that everything's going good. And the last part of the questioning is the financial insights. Like, what are your typical profit margins? So I say for me, it's good to make sure that, of course, you get what you paid for your item. And so I will just take an example of my chips. I usually buy them in a box of 30 and they usually cost me like $17. So of course I want to recoup my $17, but I also want to make a profit. So I usually charge 17 times 2, and on some items, you know, it could be 17 times 3. So your margins can be very high, you know, 200 to 300% over what you paid. It just depends on the item, and that's something like chips. Now when you get to something like your let's see, Red Bulls, you know, they're a little more pricier to buy. You know, a 24 pack is like $38. When you can get discounts sometimes, like at Sam's, they have instant savings where they're like $34, but still, once again, it's gonna be 38 times 2, because I need to make my money back that I spent on it, and I want to make a good profit. So those are those types of things, you know, I still get a good profit. Once again, 200%, you know, 100 over what I paid. So yeah, and then there are some things like the Legendary, which are not as inexpensive, but they still turn, and you can get like a 75 to 80% markup on those. So that's usually how my profit margins go. And how long did it take my business to become profitable? So I initially started with 2 machines because it took a while to negotiate through for the other 3. So I initially went in July of last year. I didn't get my first 2 machines until October. And so the beginning of this year, January, is when the other 3 came in. And so I will say, when all is said and done at the end of the year, I will have made my money back. Actually, I would have made the 50 grand back that I paid for the machines. And so I've been lucky with that, hustling. Most definitely probably could have been a little more because, like I said, as I worked, sometimes I wasn't able to get there as often as I wanted because I was tired or because I was stuck at work. So I did have my challenges, but for the most part, I feel it's a good, viable business, and that's why I want to scale up on it. And then, are there any season fluctuations in your revenue? I feel like I'm kind of coming up on that. This month, going into this month, November, October is actually a pretty good month. And once again, it could just because I hustled a little bit more because I was out of work for that, pretty much that month, as I took a leave to do some personal things and reflect on how much longer I could do my 9 to 5. But this month seems to be off to a slow start. So I would say maybe November and December, being that this is going to be my first real month to gather that type of information. But yeah, November's been off to a slow start. December, May. But then I know come the 1st, as people make their New Year resolutions and fitness and getting back in the gym would be a good month. I don't think that the two that are kind of slower will have a big impact on the overall, profit of my machines. And let's see. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all of the things. And I guess it says, what's the most rewarding aspect of running your vending business? Once again, this for me is because I can see a possibility of something outside of my traditional 9 to 5. I can see something that could be something that my sons can do, something that I can start and build into a little something that if they choose to, it can take off. If not, I can continue to build on that to be something that actually does help me reach my financial goals and be independent and have other people running those routes for me. So that's been rewarding. And I would say, yeah, the vending business, all in all, is a good business. You just have to figure out what is the best avenue for you, for, whether you're going to do it or whether you're going to go big off the bat and have help in doing it. But I really don't have any regrets about it. Hey, I feel like I was working hard, and why not do that for myself? Why not work hard for myself to get it off the ground? So yeah, that will conclude my little question and answer session. I hope once again this information was informative. I hope my experience gave you a little more insight as to whether you want to do it, if it's something you've been thinking about doing. And as always, I thank you for watching my videos. And if you found anything of value, please subscribe, like, and share. All right, I'll see you in the next.